Captain Eli Bramwell, a man of the sea, salt in his beard, wind in his hair, he scoffed at tales of ghost ships, whispers of cursed waters. Superstitions, he'd say, eyes narrowed against the salty spray. Nothing but the sea playing tricks. Bramwell captained the Tempest, a sturdy brigantine. Her sails, patched and worn, billowed with the breath of the ocean. Her crew, a motley bunch, knew their captain's disdain for the supernatural. They'd seen him weather storms that made the bravest soul tremble. One night, under a sky thick with stars, the air turned cold. The sea, usually a chorus of waves, fell silent. An unnatural stillness settled over the Tempest. Bramwell, ever vigilant, felt a prickle of unease. He dismissed it, attributing it to the unusual calm. He would soon learn, however, that the sea held secrets even he couldn't explain. His skepticism would be tested, his resolve broken. The sea, he would discover, was a realm where reality blurred with legend, and the line between life and death was as thin as the ocean mist. The unnatural silence persisted. The crew, used to the ship's familiar groans and creaks, exchanged uneasy glances. Then the whispers started, soft, indistinct murmurs carried on the wind. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Shadows danced at the edge of the lantern light, flickering shapes that vanished when approached. Objects moved inexplicably, ropes swung, compasses spun wildly. Fear, cold and clammy, began to grip the crew. Bramwell, his face grim, refused to give credence to the growing terror. "There's a rational explanation for everything," he insisted, his voice unusually loud in the eerie silence. But even he couldn't shake the feeling that an unseen presence had boarded the Tempest. The ship, once their reliable vessel, now felt like a stranger, its familiar decks imbued with an unnerving chill. They were adrift in a sea of silence, haunted by whispers and shadows, sailing towards an unknown and terrifying encounter. The following dawn brought no solace. A thick fog rolled in, shrouding the Tempest in an eerie white blanket. The whispers intensified, now laced with faint moans and ghostly cries. The hairs on the back of Bramwell's neck stood on end. Then it emerged from the mist, a ship tall and sleek, with sails that seemed woven from moonlight. It glided silently, leaving no wake, an ethereal vessel defying the laws of wind and water. This was no ordinary ship. This was the silent wake, the stuff of whispered legends. On her deck, figures moved, tall and skeletal, their forms shifting in the swirling mist. Their eyes, burning like hot coals, seemed to pierce through the fog, fixing on the Tempest and her crew. Bramwell, his skepticism crumbling, felt a chill run down his spine. This was no trick of the light, no figment of overactive imaginations. This was real, and it was coming for them. Days blurred into nights. The silent wake shadowed the Tempest relentlessly. The spectral figures watched their every move, their burning eyes a constant reminder of the supernatural threat. The crew, driven to the brink of madness by fear and exhaustion, could only huddle together, muttering prayers and curses in equal measure. Whispers morphed into screams that tore through the silence, each one seeming to claw at their sanity. The spectral figures began to appear on the Tempest, their forms solidifying, their cold, bony fingers reaching out as if trying to drag the crew to a watery grave. Bramwell, his face etched with terror and fatigue, fought to maintain control. He barked orders, trying to sound authoritative, but his voice shook with a fear he could no longer suppress. He realized with chilling certainty that they were not merely being followed, they were being hunted.